our conversation, Sue. So again, I'm Natalie Coulson. I run an agency called Amped Up Marketing Communications. So I am still battling with technology, but I will keep going because I'm sure it will kick in. So yes, I wanted to speak with Sue today because she has recently made the transition from marketing director, so from a high level corporate role to becoming a consultant and a coach. I made the transition a number of years ago, and so it's definitely something I've been through. But I wanted to talk to Sue because it's a much fresher transition. So we've worked in a couple of different capacities recently. So Sue was part of my personal branding program back in May and June. And I've also worked with her in her consulting role. So welcome, Sue. We can finally get this conversation going properly. And now I want you to, firstly, we'll dive right in. So you've made the transition from marketing director to consultant and coach. So what has that been like?
It's been fun, Nat. It's been really good fun. And I just to give you some history and background on me, I worked at a Big Four consulting firm, and I had done for 24 years of my career, which is a sizable chunk and nearly half of my life under the one brand. And from a personal branding perspective, I always associated myself as part of that overarching brand which I was a part of. And we talked about this in terms of my confidence around posting on LinkedIn. And I was always very comfortable posting content on my LinkedIn profile that related to and about the organisation that I was working for. But when we started talking about personal brand, Natalie, I'm like, oh my God, that's a bit harder. I really have to dig deep and really think strategically about how I position myself as a coach, as a business owner. What is it that Sue Brown brings to this conversation? And I've set up I've got an ABN, and I've started to set up my company. I've got clients. I've got a LinkedIn profile. I haven't got a website, and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's 101 things that I need to do. And when you work in a corporate organization under the banner of a corporate or business brand, you have all these wonderful people, and I've worked with some amazing people over the years, and you go to whoever you need to go to make stuff happen. But as you transition to running your own business, and you know this, and we've talked about this before, the challenge is, oh my goodness, I don't have a social media manager that I can reach out to and say, okay, let's do a post. If you want to do that post and make it happen, you do it yourself, and you have to think, what am I saying? What am I doing? What message am I trying to get across here? Which isn't easy in the early days. And I've struggled with some of these things that you think, okay, yeah, I need a website, let's just make one. Let's update my LinkedIn profile. Let's think about my business plan and what that looks like and what I want my business to represent. What is my purpose? What are the skills that I'm bringing to the clients that I want to serve going forward? So Natalie, in short, it's been a bloody big roller coaster ride. And I took a redundancy from the firm that I was working for, and I had as a lot of people do, I had a vision and I knew what I wanted to do, but that redundancy probably came 2 years before I was ready to leave. So instead of being ready to hit the ground running when I left, I have needed to scramble to make things happen. And we were, of course, as everybody knows, in the middle of a pandemic. And things haven't happened as quickly as I perhaps wanted them to happen. But what I've learned too is take baby steps. You don't have to be perfect from the get-go.
That's right. You don't have to be perfect, and we're never perfect. But I think that what you were saying about us focusing on our role in a corporate environment, and you can have a higher level of proficiency within that role, but
True.
then you have to accept that you're not going to be as proficient at all those other things starting out, such as we've spoken about writing being one thing, social media, and then you've got all the other like numbers and like when do you hire an accountant? There's actually a lot of expenses that you don't even realize that there will be. So you kind of have to be the accounting department, the social media manager. Then who's keeping you accountable? Like there's the project management side, and that's just your own business. Then you've got your clients. Then you've got to actually serve your clients and look after the fulfillment. So yeah, it's a lot. So, but you said it's fun.
It is. Look, it is fun, and Rome wasn't built in a day. And you mentioned systems and tools, and things like Canva, having a Canva account that can help you with creating social media posts, creating a business logo, creating content that you can use and leverage as you're putting yourself out there. Then there's I went through this wonderful journey where I set up, and a lovely friend of mine recommended a business account called BizInvoice with Westpac, which was amazing. I loved it. It made it super easy to send invoices out to clients that I was working with. And then Westpac wrote to me and said, I'm sorry, we're going to disable this product. It no longer exists. Please download all of your invoices, and here's a discount for Xero should you wish to use it, or MYOB, and we're going to pop $50 in your account to compensate you for the fact that we're closing this tool down. And I was gutted. I'm like, I love this tool. I really enjoy using it. And then you go, okay, I've got to start again. Am I going to go back to invoicing using Word documents? So, all of these new things that you implement all cost money, as you rightly point out. And it's not just the money aspect, Natalie, it's the research that you do to find the right tools to support you and the type of business that you're setting up. And you take this all for granted when you work inside a corporate, because you've got all those wonderful people around you that just know stuff. And as a small business owner and getting up and running, you build a new tribe around you. And I've got wonderful people like you and others that I leverage your knowledge, I leverage your insight, and I'm lapping it all up at the moment. And I can't get enough of the wonderful skills and experience and learnings that I'm taking away as I grow and evolve in my own business and in my own coaching practice.
And I know in the Personal Branding with Confidence program, which was in May and June, one thing you mentioned, that was that you needed to take time out to think, because I kept asking you questions, like really big questions.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that always baffles people is when you say, well, what's your purpose? So I'm not saying you couldn't answer that one, but I mean, that's just an example. Or what's your mission and what's your vision? And these are like massive questions. And so we did this over 6 to 8 weeks.
We did, yeah.
And you need that time in between. And I know for myself, like when I was asked those questions, it took me like a good year to figure that out. And that was after several years of working as like a consultant and a freelancer, essentially. So it takes a while. So what has that process been like for you? Like, how have you taken time out and prioritized that thinking time?
I've struggled with this. I knew exactly who I was inside of the corporate environment. I knew what my strengths were, my passions were, and I I did my role really effectively. And I liked helping and supporting people to be their best selves. And that's why I decided to set up a coaching business. So I can still do that and will do that going forward. I think the challenge that you have when you first set up a business is I went through a program that the New South Wales government runs called the New Enterprise Incentive Scheme, and I had some amazing people around me, and I had the support of a mentor. I set up, I created my business plan, I created my financial plan, and then I had to launch and make it happen. But I was challenged from a health perspective, and I won't go into the details in terms of what that was all about, but I realized I needed to pull back. And after 24 years inside of the same organization and growing and morphing into different roles over that period, I was probably a lot more exhausted than I realized. And we were in the middle of the pandemic, and I was tired, and I was diagnosed with something that was quite challenging to deal with. So I just took a step back and went, okay, right now I've got to prioritize me. Yes, I want to get this business up and running, and I want to be absolutely amazing at it, and I know I will, and I know I will get there, and I know things won't be perfect from the beginning. But sometimes you just got to step back and go, you know what? I'm number one at the moment, and I've just got to look after to me. So that's been a big focus for me, and it's probably set me back a little bit in terms of where I've wanted to go in terms of driving my business and putting myself out there and getting really comfortable with my personal and my new business brand. But I'll get back to it. And I think it's important to just realize that sometimes you've just got to stop and put yourself first. So I've been a little bit quieter than I thought I might be, but I'm okay with that. And
it doesn't need to be a mad rush.
No. But I'm the type of person, Nat, that I want to do everything perfectly. And I had a conversation with, I've got a bunch of, and they're friends now, they're amazing friends that I call my accountability partners. And I've been texting one of my accountability buddies every day this week in relation to, you mentioned communications and writing, around my writing. And what the two of us decided to do was use the blogging platform that exists with Google. Off the back of my Google account, I didn't even know it existed. And I was saying to my accountability buddies on Sunday morning, I am frustrated with myself. I'm not journaling like I want to. And the only reason I'm not journaling is because I haven't got a journal, and I need to go out and buy one, and I want it to be a nice one, and I want it to have the pink cover, leather cover. And one of my buddies said to me, why don't you just use the blog platform that's available with the Google Suite? I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of it. And I've gone in, I've had a look at it, and she said, I use that as my online journal. The only thing I don't do is I don't publish the content. It's my own personal journal. So I have been doing that for the last couple of days. And every morning I get a nudge from one of those girls who goes, okay, I've written my blog. Where are you at? And so we keep each other honest. And I think accountability, it relates to coaching as well, but having somebody that holds you accountable is super, super good for you in terms of.
And I think we're all different that way, because I know for me, that wouldn't be, I feel like I've got to share it. So like, I feel like I want that audience to be able to, and then of course it's not blasting everything everywhere. It's picking specific areas that you want to share. But anyway, we're all wired differently, and
We sure are.
I certainly have my scrawl in a notepad, which is somehow gets the creative juices going. But otherwise, I like to share. So yeah, we're all different. But speaking of sharing, so why have you decided to share your story today?
I just think it's interesting to hear other people's stories. I had I listened to an interview this morning about a lady, and I'm in a group with her, and she was in a corporate role, working extremely long hours, working really hard, and took some time out. And she was super passionate about baking and creating things. And there's a real creative side of her that I don't think was coming out in her corporate role. And I think the more we listen to people that are on a path, and they might be a little bit ahead of us or they might be a little bit behind us, the more inspiring I find it to learn and grow and evolve from listening to their stories. So I'm here in the hope that folks that listen to our message that we're sharing today, Natalie, find something from it and can learn something from it and grow through the experience in terms of their own journey and what they want to do.
Because one thing that I know is back in May, you would not have jumped on LinkedIn.
I wouldn't have in a million years.
So I feel like that is already something to be celebrated, because you're happy to, you know, more about what you're trying to do, what the longer-term goals are. You've got that confidence just to jump on. So that's so awesome. Congratulations.
I know too that I don't need to be perfect, and that I'm on a journey with my own business, and I'm looking at it as a brand new chapter in life and what we do. And you're absolutely right. No way in a million years would have I said yes to sitting in on a session like this with you and putting myself out there. But what I've realized is, say yes and then work out how you're going to do it later. And,
because the thing is too, you're now over a year ahead of someone who has just been made redundant or just left that corporate role. So you've already got those learnings to share. And that's the same for any of us. We're all at different stages, but we've always got something we can teach others.
I found too that, you know, one of the things that, because I'm not so busy working stupendous hours every week, having that time out to focus on me, to journal, to meditate, to, you know, we got a dog, you know, a cavoodle at the beginning of the pandemic, and going for walks and listening to podcasts has just been absolutely wonderful in terms of broadening my perspective and opening my eyes to a wider world of amazing people that are out there that share their stories, that are so inspiring. And you find your right tribe in terms of the people that inspire you based on the journey that you're looking to take in life.
So I have to ask then, what role does your understanding of personal brand play in feeling more confident in showing up now?
I think for me, I will start to post more content on LinkedIn, and I've got the energy and the time to do that. I'll also look at other social media platforms, and I'll look to build a website. But to do that, I've got to create this. What's this look and I used to always call branding the look and feel.
Yes.
What's the look and feel that I'm looking to create for me, that represents who I am, the type of individual I am, and the type of clients I'm looking to attract. I love the wonderful world of professional services. when I was, you know my story, I grew up on a farm in New Zealand, and I thought the most wonderful thing was when my dad had to do his annual accounts and take them down. I just wanted to work in an accounting / consulting firm. That's what I wanted to do, and I had the opportunity when I came to Australia in 1997 after a couple of years living in London in the UK. And it was my dream, it was my purpose, it was my goal. And I worked with a wonderful bunch of really smart and talented individuals. And I couldn't have asked for a better grounding or a better environment to grow up and live in those early years of my life, as I went from, you know, crazy lady who would go out drinking till all hours in the middle of the night with work colleagues, to getting married, finding my tribe, having children, and living that experience. But that chapter's now closed, and I'm opening the next chapter, and I'm really looking forward to taking those steps that I need to take to really grow and evolve my own business and me as a person as well.
So it's that comfort with the stage and with the purpose of how you can serve your clients as well.
And linking it back to your purpose, your intent, where you're going and what you want to do. And like you say, that's not something that you can carve out in 5 minutes or in a half-day strategy session. That's something that comes with time and with that deep thinking that you do around, where am I going with this? And if I look back to my business plan, and I put together a business plan probably about 10 months ago, and I've printed that off again, and I'm rereading it, and I'm going, actually, I want to tweak my offerings and what I'm taking to my clients, and putting different packages and content together. And that just comes with knowing and experience and just trying a few things.
Definitely, it is all trial and error. So then, what would your advice be to someone who is a year behind you or more and wants to go down this path? Like, what have you learned? How could you make their experience a better one?
That's a really good question, Nat. I think the key message is you don't have to do everything at once. And probably another point to make, and a lot of people that are transitioning out of a corporate role into setting up their own business, is you don't have to necessarily stop your corporate role and start something new. Transition and do it slowly. Set it up as a bit of a side gig that you're going to do for a while. Now, I didn't have the opportunity to do that because my circumstances were different, but I would have 12 months ago started to build my business on the side, take the time out to really articulate what my plan was, what my purpose and my intent were, build a personal brand around that business that was growing and evolving as the ideas grew and evolved in my head, and do it slowly. Like, to me, a personal branding workshop's super important. The work we did together in terms of updating my LinkedIn built my confidence at the same time. I feel a lot more confident now about what that logo that represents Evolve with Sue Brown, the coach.
What's behind that?
What's
Yes.
behind it?
Yes.
Exactly. And I don't think you necessarily know that from the beginning. So transition slowly into it if you can.
But I mean, you're doing the consulting in an organisation now, plus you're doing your coaching. So in a way, okay, maybe you didn't start off with that, but you have, and I did that as well. So I spent 18 months where I was in corporate environments part-time, and then I had my business on the side. So I did the exact same thing. And but I think that you have to feel the pain. So to a certain extent. Because if it's too easy, you don't have that need you just kind of get into a different comfort zone. So that's my
You do.
experience. So
Yeah,
yes, we've all got bills to pay. Yes, of course, we've got to do what we've got to do for our life. But I think in terms of identifying that deep purpose and that deep desire to be that guide and that help to somebody else, you got to feel it. Like you got to stop and go, oh my gosh, what impact am I making on the world? So
you've got to feel it, you're right, from being a little bit uncomfortable
yes,
in your own shoes. And if you're, and you do this from a coaching perspective in and around what you do too, Nat, you're right, if you haven't experienced it, you can't relate to your clients, which is not a position that you want to be in. And feeling pain is good, because when you feel that pain, you grow. And you develop as an individual, and you really start to find your feet and feel what's right for you in the direction in which you want to go.
So this is all music to my ears, because my purpose is to help entrepreneurs, and that includes coaches, freelancers, consultants, to feel seen and heard by finding their voice. So I feel like you found your voice. So big tick for me and satisfaction. But how would you articulate your purpose?
I share that through a story.
Yes.
In my younger years, I lived in Queenstown in New Zealand, and I worked for a company called Mount Cook Line, which owned the leases on Coronet Peak and Remarkables ski fields. And we were a ski centre in the winter, and we were a travel centre in the summer. And in those early years, we used to wear a badge on our uniform, and it was here to help. And I just love that experience I had early in life, because I was here I would help anyone with any challenge, any problem, any question they had. And my corporate role was the same. It's okay. I know where you go and how you navigate this very big organization to get what you want. So I think in a nutshell, here to help. I'm here to help people find their voice, find their place, find out exactly what it is that they want to do, and be really comfy in their shoes. And it's not an easy process to go through. But yeah, to summarize it, I think, Nat, here to help.
And what kind of problem or struggle is your customer experiencing where you can come in and help? How are you solving those? Who are you solving the problems for, and what problems are you solving?
My main target audience, if I think about it from a business perspective, are young professionals, and I'm very comfortable in a professional services, consulting, accounting type environment, because that's my background, and I know that world. I know their world. I know how hard they work. I know how many hours they work. I know how challenging that environment is to work in. So whether it's a senior person going in as a lateral hire partner who's come into a brand new environment, knows what he or she is, what the expectations of he or she is in that environment, and has gone in to make a difference, I can certainly help and support them as they transition into finding their feet inside of that type of organisation, or into that new role that they're experiencing, whether they've come from another firm or they've come from the public or private sector into that organisation. I've done that a lot in my career already. Or if you're a younger professional in that environment going, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What's the evolution of my career inside of that big four consulting environment, and how do I navigate my way through from a career perspective to get to where I want to go?
But you've been there and done it, so that's the key.
I get that environment. I know what it's like. I've worked with very senior partners and inside of these organizations. I've sat in executive meetings. I kind of get where they're coming from, and I know what the expectations of those coming through is. So I still want to, work with young professionals to help and support them, find their feet. But I'm still defining that, Nat. I haven't got it nailed in a one-liner yet. So
That's totally fine.
look out. I think my growth mindset is there. I've had health challenges which I've worked through, and I'm ready to step up and step into really driving and growing my business. And watch out, there'll be lots more coming out from Sue Brown. Her confidence has grown
Awesome.
through the personal branding. Opportunities I've had to grow and learn through you, and other opportunities I've also sought to undertake, whether it be podcasts or reading amazing books, or being part of other empowering programs that
And I
exist.
think that's the
What's
key,
right for
though.
you.
It's the key is to share your journey, because that you don't have to have made it. What does that even mean? So we're all on a journey. So yeah, I'm proud of you for sharing your journey. It's very exciting. And so how can people find you at the moment? What's the best way? Clearly, I know we're on LinkedIn, but we are on the other platforms as well. So what's the best way of contacting you?
LinkedIn. Just find me on LinkedIn. I will build and develop those other platforms, and I will create a website, but I'm in the early days of putting myself out there. I feel like I've now got the confidence to do it, and I will be more accessible. But right now, find me on LinkedIn. It's Sue Brown with an E.
Perfect. And I'm going to have my little plug too. I am running the Personal Branding with Confidence program again from the 30th of September. I've got my early bird special available until, that sounds like some kind of raffle, doesn't it? Anyway, that's available till Friday. But yes, I'm excited to kick that off again and share more amazing stories like Sue's. So awesome
wonderful
work. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody, for
All right,
listening to
we figured out the tech finally, but anyway, we're getting there. That's part of my learning journey. So anyway, thank you, Sue. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.